Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So our invocation for today's class from the Srimad Bhagavad Gita Mahatmyam number 10. Gita Jnanena Sambodham Krishna Parharjunaya Vai Bhakti Tattvam Parang Tatra Satgunang Vata Nirgunam. In order to enlighten Arjuna, Sri Krishna Chandra has sung the praises of the supreme principle of bhakti, both relative and absolute, throughout. So we're going to finish chapter 3 today. This final section of the third chapter, the subject matter is lust. So Krishna now speaks. First, Arjuna speaks in text number 36. Please repeat. Attakena prayukto yam papam charati purushaha anicchan api varshneya balad iva niyojitaha. Arjuna said, O Krishna, by what then is someone impelled to commit sins? Although not desiring, O descendant of Vrishni, it is as if a person is engaged by force. Text 37. Please repeat. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajaguna Samudbhava Mahashano Mahapatma Vidyenam Ihavairinam. The personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna said, lust and anger, which are born out of the material mode of passion, are all devouring and greatly sinful. Know them to be the greatest enemies in this material existence. Text 38. Dhumena vriyate vanir yatardasho malena cha yatolbena vrito garbhas tatate nedam avritam. Just as fire is covered by smoke, as a mirror is covered by dust, or as the embryo is covered by the womb, similarly the living entity is covered by different degrees of this lust. 39. Avritang jnanam etena jnanino nityavairina kama rupena kaunteya dushpurena nalena cha. O son of Kunti, your original pure consciousness is covered by your eternal enemy in the form of lust. Such lust is never satisfied and burns like fire, O Arjuna. Text number 40. Indriyani manobuddhir asyadhishtana muchyate etar vimohayat yesha jnanam avritya dehinam. The senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of lust. This lust bewilders the embodied soul by covering one's true knowledge. Text number 41. Tasmat tvam indriyan yadav
Tasmatvam indriyani yadav
niyamya bharatarshava
niyame bhattasabha
papmanam prajayenam
papmanam prajayenam
jnana vijnana nashanam.
jnana vijnana nashanam.
Therefore, O chief amongst the descendants of Bharat, from the start, you must curb this great symbol of sin known as lust by regulating your sense enjoyment. Otherwise, lust is certainly the destroyer of actual knowledge as well as scientific realization of yourself as pure spirit soul. Text 42. Indriyani paranyahur
Indriyani paramahur
indriyebhya parang manaha
indriyebhya param manah
manasastu parabuddhir
manasastu parabuddhi
yo buddhe paratastu sa.
yodhe paratastusa.
Simply understand these facts, that the senses are superior to the sense objects, that the mind is superior to the senses, that intelligence is superior to the mind, and that you, spirit soul, are superior to intelligence. And finally, evang buddhe parang buddhva
Evam buddhe param buddha
sangstavyatmanam atmana
samasabhyam
jahi shatrung mahabaho
jai shatrum mahabhavo
kama rupam durasadam.
kamarupam durasadam.
O mighty armed one, thus knowing your true self to be superior to intelligence, mind, senses, and sense objects. It didn't print the last part. Did it print on yours? No. No. There's more to it. Somehow or other, I lost it. Anyway, let's review what we just studied. So, Arjuna's question, why does somebody do something wrong, sinful, and sometimes even against their will? It seems like they're impelled to do that. And Krishna's response, Arjuna, lust and anger. We learned this in chapter 2. Because lust is never satisfied, we become frustrated, and after that frustration, we become angry. So they go together. So Krishna says, this lust and anger comes out of the mode of passion. There are 3 modes of material nature. Right now, you're in the mode of goodness. Why? Because you're hearing spiritual knowledge. Your senses are calm, unlike Cooper. Your senses are controlled, and you're fixing your ears and mind on the subject matter. The subject matter being Bhagavad Gita. So right now, you're in the mode of goodness. But when we start to engage in material activities, then we switch into the mode of passion. And when those material activities become vicious or violations of the laws of God, then they turn into the mode of ignorance. And because of passion and ignorance, lust and anger. And Krishna said, that's the all-devouring sinful enemy in this world. The same thing when Prahlad's father, Hiranyakashipu, was chastising his son. Prahlad said, you want me to distinguish between friends and enemies, my dear father. There's only one enemy, your uncontrolled senses. When the senses are not controlled, that's your real enemy, not this person or that person. The real enemy is this lust and the inability to control that. Same thing Krishna says in this section. So then Krishna gives the analogy because there are different degrees. So smoke covers fire. That means there's a little covering. But because of the fire, that's good. So that's the mode of goodness. The mode of goodness means there's a little material contamination, but not as much as a mirror covered by dust. That's more covering. When the mirror is completely, or in the morning you take a hot shower, then you come out, you have to go like this because you can't put on your kajal, right? Or whatever. I can't put on my tilak. So that's the mode of passion. More covered. Mode of goodness, you're covered, but not as much. But when you're in the mode of passion, you're really covered. And then the last one, or as the embryo is covered by the womb, complete covering. That's the mode of ignorance. So Krishna is saying there are different degrees of this lust. Then he says again, it's your eternal enemy. And then he points out this line in the Sanskrit, Dushparain analena cha. This lust is like fire. It burns and it's never satisfied. The classic example, Ravana. Ravana could not satisfy his lusty desires. He had a wife who gave him all kinds of sense enjoyment, but that wasn't enough. He used to have a harem besides his wife. And not only that, he would repeatedly, I'm trying to say nice words, but he would harass other women forcefully. And one time I don't want to use the R word. We're in a saintly company. But one time he violated, how's that? He violated a heavenly damsel. And because of that, he was cursed. And that curse was, if you ever force yourself again on a woman, your 10 heads will crack and you will die. So Ravana had received a boon from Lord Brahma that practically speaking he was invincible. And he even defeated Yamaraj in battle. And he tried to fight Lord Shiva. But Lord Shiva was not to be conquered. So Ravan surrendered to Lord Shiva, and as a result, Lord Shiva gave him his weapon. But that didn't help him in the end. So Ravana, his real downfall was his lust, because he found out about Sita and he couldn't give up his attachment to Sita, and that was his downfall. And so many of his advisors, his brothers, all advised Ravana, give up this attachment to Sita, you're going to lose everything. But because of his lust, he couldn't give up that attachment. And when the battle came, he sent out one of his sons after another to defeat Ram and Lakshman. But everyone came back dead. And then finally Indrajit, the one who had conquered Indra. That's quite a feat. But even he died. So when everything was gone, and still his advisors were telling him, you're losing everything. Just give up Sita. No, he couldn't give it up, because that's what lust is all about. It's attachment, and you want to enjoy, and you can't give it up. Like, how can I give an example? My grandson, when he was a small little kid, no matter what we did, he would find out where the chocolate was. My daughter would hide it, but this kid was so crafty. I think he had special nose. He could smell out where the chocolate was. We have this expression, sweet tooth, when my grandson had sweet mouth. He loved sweets, and we would hide them, couldn't give it up. So lust is like that. So Ravan couldn't give up his attachment for Sita, and that was his downfall. He lost everything. He lost his kingdom, he lost his brothers, he lost his own wife. His life, yes?
I heard Sita was Ravan's daughter.
You heard Sita was who?
Ravan's daughter.
I never heard that.
Have anybody else heard of
No. In a previous life, she was Vedavati, and she was practicing austerities. And Ravana tried to capture her. She was performing austerities, and Ravana wanted to take her. And when Ravana touched her, he touched her hair, Vedavati cut off her hair, and she said, I will come back and I will destroy you. And then she immolated herself, and then she took birth as Sita. So no, she was not his daughter. I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, I heard.
I know, it's definitely not in the Ramayana. What?
Substantiate?
Well, that's what we heard.
Well, there are so many things I hear. It doesn't mean it's true. I think that's what they call fake news.
Okay. Trump.
It's not in Shastras.
You have something to say? Yes, Sita was born
In this ground.
at the soil. So it is actually a lot of the bloods of all the saints and all that they used to bleed the Ram. So in a way, you can say Rama did produce her because it was his.
No, he said Ravana.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
really Ravana.
Ravana.
His tyranny that he used to bleed these, they died, and all this blood was collected in one ghara. That's the word in Hindi, a part, the clay part, and that was put in the earth. And so when Janaka was doing it, that's how out of that she comes out of the earth with his, the word is hal. The seat where you make a furrow in the ground, and that's where the Sita came. So if somebody can think, yes, it is a doing of Ravana, produce Sita, but it's like far-fetched. So
Yeah, I'll say
I
it's-
would like to know where you heard that and what is their reference.
Yes, what is the...
I didn't read it. I heard it like a regular community, like we talk among friends.
So what you're telling they must make sense. So that means
But
in
this
a
is the
nutshell.
I'm just as we are going, I'm just giving like a hypothesis. Okay, I don't know. That's it. How.
No, what you told me was in a nutshell. That means Rama
Yeah.
produced Sita and
Yeah, I need to
So
know. I
that's-
need to see where it's coming from. I never heard. Okay, never heard of it. Neither in Valmiki Ramayana, neither in Tulsi Ramayana. And those are the only two references we have. I have at least.
So, lust is never satisfied, as Krishna says. It burns like fire. You may try to satisfy your lust. Another example given in the Vedas. You have your diya. In order to keep that diya, you keep adding ghee. So that is what lust is about. I think, oh, I have this lusty desire, let me satisfy it. So that's just like pouring more ghee onto the fire. It just perpetuates it. So in the Vedas, it says the way to do that, as Krishna says, I think he says in the next verse, from the start. So as soon as you realize that you're caught up in the web of lust, Krishna says, from the start, you must curb this great symbol of sin known as lust by regulating your sense enjoyment. What does that mean? Yes, the Vedas allow for material sense enjoyment, but it should be done according to scriptures. For instance, there's this propensity for sex. Sex is sanctioned in marriage. If it's done in marriage, then you're regulating. But if it's done outside of marriage, then it becomes lust and is not to be satisfied. But in marriage, regulated, you're doing good. Or so many things. Enjoying your senses. We do it according to the scriptures. We will read later on in Bhagavad Gita, eating. You can eat in the mode of goodness. You can eat in the mode of passion. You can eat in the mode of ignorance. Obviously, for those who want to make spiritual advancement, they want to eat in the mode of goodness. So, regulating the senses. Then, Krishna gives the outline. Try to understand things philosophically. Here is this sense object. This sense object is telling me to enjoy it. But no, I am superior. My senses are superior to this sense object. And superior to the senses, my mind. And superior to my mind is intelligence. And superior to intelligence, me, the soul. Because we all learned in the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, I am not what?
I'm the soul.
Yeah, I'm the soul, not the body. Yes, that was the first thing we learned in Bhagavad Gita. So that's why Krishna says here, and the soul is superior to the senses, mind, and intelligence, because that's all part of the body. The soul is distinct and different. And then, it wasn't there, somehow or other, I didn't put it in. The final verse, Krishna says, thus knowing this, you develop what is called spiritual intelligence. How do you get spiritual intelligence? You have a guru, a spiritual teacher or advisor. You have the scriptures. And then you have the example of other saintly persons. That's how you get spiritual intelligence. Guru, sadhu, shastra. Shastra means the Vedas, especially what we're studying, Bhagavad Gita, and Shankaracharya said that's the only book you need, according to Shankaracharya. And you have your spiritual master, your guru, and then you have the examples of so many saintly persons in the past. By taking advantage of those three things, you develop spiritual intelligence, so that when a problem comes, you take advantage of your spiritual intelligence, you know how to act. Okay, that ends part 1. Everybody chant Hare Krishna.